In at number 10 is the Mosa. It is a powerful aquatic mount. The Mosasaurus is a massive, powerful aquatic dinosaur that serves as an exceptional underwater mount. It has high health, stamina, and damage output, making it a formidable force in underwater combat. Underwater exploration. With its ability to navigate underwater depths, the Mosasaurus allows players to explore the ocean depths safely. It can travel quickly and cover vast distances underwater, which is particularly useful for reaching underwater caves and high resource rich areas. And for combat superiority, the Mosa's high base damage and health make it a dominant force against other aquatic creatures, including other formidable predators like the Plesiosaur or the Lezichthyes. This makes it a valuable asset for defending underwater bases or engaging in underwater battles. Right, next up we have the Yutyrannus, and the main good thing about this is its leadership roar. The Yutyrannus has a special ability called the Courage Roar or Fear Roar. When it roars, it gives a buff to nearby allied creatures, boosting their attack power and resistance to fear effects. This can be incredibly useful in battles or when taming other creatures, making them stronger and more resilient. Then they also have utility in battles, due to which Courage Roar ability, the Yutyrannus becomes a valuable asset in battles against other creatures or players. The buff it provides to nearby creatures can turn the tide in challenging encounters, making it a significant asset in PvP, player versus player, or PvE, player versus environment scenarios. It also plays a role in taming assistance. When taming other creatures, especially those that are difficult or have torpor-inducing effect, the Yutyrannus can help by buffing the taming creature's damage output and resistance, making the taming process safer and faster. While the Yutyrannus can't fly, it can be ridden and controlled. Its decent speed and ability to provide buffs while being riding make it a versatile and valuable mount for various situations. And it also has pack buffs. When used in conjunction with other creatures, the Yutyrannus' buffs can stack onto other pack leader creatures, amplifying the bonuses give to the allied creatures, creating a formidable force. Next up we have the Argy. Firstly, to do with transportation, the Argy has a decent flight speed and stamina, making it a reliable creature for transportation. It can carry out a considerable amount of weight, allowing players to transport resources, creatures, or even other smaller dinosaurs across long distances. Combat utility. While not the most powerful combat creature, the Argy is quite effective in battles due to its decent health pool, stamina, and melee damage. Its ability to fly allows it to attack from the air, making it useful for hunting, defending, or even assisting in taming other creatures. Resource gathering. Argentavis can be trained to harvest various resources efficiently. They're particularly good at gathering renewable resources such as hide, meat, and organic polymer from certain creatures. With their ability to carry large amounts, they can expedite resource gathering trips. Its ability to carry other creatures in its talons makes it useful for taming or relocating smaller creatures. This feature is especially handy when players want to tame creatures in challenging or dangerous areas and then transport them to a safer location for taming. Accessibility. The Argy is relatively easier to obtain compared to some of the other flying creatures in the game. They're commonly found in various regions that can be tamed using a variety of foods, making them accessible for players at different levels. And base defense and utility. Due to their decent combat capabilities, Argentavis can be trained and used to defend a base or assist in resource gathering around the player's settlements, providing them an extra layer of security. In at number 7 is the Theray, and the first thing we can say is its gathering efficiency. One of the primary reasons for the Therizinosaur's popularity is its outstanding gathering capabilities. It excels at gathering a wide variety of resources such as wood, thatch, fiber, berries, and rare flowers efficiently. This makes it a valuable asset for resource gathering, especially for wood and thatch, which are essential building materials. Combat prowess. The Therizinosaur is a formidable combatant with high base damage and a rapid attack rate. When properly leveled and equipped, it can be effective in both defensive and offensive roles. Its ability to gather resources also makes it easier to collect the materials needed for saddles and gear, enhancing its combat capabilities further. To do with decent health and versatility, Therizinosaurs have a good base health pool, making them durable in battles, and additionally, they can be bred for higher stats, making them even more resilient. Their versatility in both gathering and combat makes them a desirable choice for many players. herbivore and berry gathering. With its ability to efficiently gather berries, the Therizinosaur becomes valuable for players needing large quantities of berries for taming herbivores, creatures, or crafting consumables. Kibble production. They have the ability to collect large amounts of eggs from various creatures, making them ideal for egg farming and kibble production. Kibble is an important resource for efficiently taming higher tier creatures. In at number 6 we have the Spino. It is a powerful all-rounder. The Spinosaurus is a well-rounded creature with a high base damage, health and speed. Its versatile stats make it effective in various situations including combat, resource gathering and exploration. It is an excellent swimmer. Spinos are able to move swiftly through waterways and traverse both shallow and deeper waters without issue. This amphibious nature allows them to excel in aquatic environments and explore underwater areas. The gathering capability makes them a proficient gatherer, especially for specific resources like meat and hide. Their attacks yield substantial amounts of meat and hide from any creatures that they defeat, making them valuable for collecting these resources efficiently. They also have combat superiority. Again, Spinos are powerful combatants with a unique attack animation that covers a wide area, allowing them to deal damage to multiple enemies at once. Their high base health makes them formidable opponents in battles against both land and aquatic creatures. Also, they have accessibility and a taming ease. A Spino can be found in various regions across the Ark map, making them very relatively accessible to any kind of Ark player. While they might require some effort to tame during their strength, they can be tamed using meat, fish, and become valuable assets once tamed. Despite their large size, Spinos move relatively quickly, both in land and in water. This agility allows players to maneuver effectively during combat or exploration, making them useful for travelling across different terrains. And Spinos are often used in boss fights due to their high damage output and durability. Their versatility makes them suitable for various boss encounters, adding to their value in high-end game content. Overall, the Spinosaurus' combination of high stats, versatility, speed, combat prowess, and resource gathering abilities make it highly sought after and a valuable creature in Ark Survival Evolved for both solo players and tribes. In at number 5 we have the Megalodon, and the main thing they have is the Megalodons are relatively fast underwater and have good stamina. They allow players to explore the ocean depths and travel across water bodies efficiently. They can serve as reliable mounts for underwater exploration due to their speed and maneuverability. Also, in the early to mid stages of the game, before obtaining higher tier aquatic mounts like the Mosa or the Plesio, the Megalodon can be a valuable aquatic mount due to its moderate strength, ease of taming, and availability in various parts of the map. However, compared to some of the larger aquatic creatures like the Mosasaurus or the Plesiosaur, the Megalodon might lack in raw power and durability that the higher tier creatures possess. As players gain progress in the game, they might not opt for a less potent creature like the Megalodon. So why AI did you put this thing in at number 5 and the Mosa in at number 10? You really don't make sense. Well, ultimately, the Megalodon might not be as powerful as some other aquatic creatures, but its speed, accessibility, and early game utility make it like the best. It says the best ocean tame. Next up, we have the Golem or the Rock Elemental, and the main thing they have is durability and tankiness. Rock Elementals can possess an incredibly high base health pool and natural armor, making them one of the most resilient creatures in the game. They can absorb a significant amount of damage from both creatures and structures, serving as formidable tanks in battles or as defenders for bases. They also are potent attackers capable of dealing substantial damage to both creatures and structures. Their rock throwing ability allows them to attack enemies from a distance, making them an effective siege creature in raiding scenarios. They also have the ability to gather large quantities of stone and similar resources by smacking rocks with their attacks. This makes them invaluable for resource gathering, especially for stone, flint and metal, which are essential for crafting and building. Placing a rock elemental within a base can act as significant deterrent for potential attackers. Their immense health pool and damage output make them powerful defenders against raiders or hostile creatures. In PvP scenarios, golems are highly sought after for their ability to deal significant damage to enemy structures. Their rock throwing attack allows them to damage structures from a distance, making them effective siege creatures in raids. However, its movement speed is a bit of a downside. In at number 3, we have the Quetz. It is an aerial platform. The Quetzal serves as a flying platform capable of carrying massive amounts amount of weight in its platform saddle, which allows players to build structures on its back, essentially turning it into a mobile base. This feature is invaluable for base building, resource transportation, and mobile operations. It also is very versatile. The Quetzal's combination of flying ability, high weight capacity, and the platform saddle makes it one of the most versatile creatures in the game. It can be utilized for various tasks including base building, resource gathering, taming, combat, and transportation. Due to this exceptional versatility and usefulness across multiple aspects of gameplay, the Quetzal is a highly prized and sought after Ark creature by many players and tribes in the Ark Survival Evolved game, and its unique abilities serve as a mobile platform, carry other creatures, transport heavy loads, and engage in combat, make it an indispensable asset in the game. What a lovely thing to say about a creature this slow. In at number 2 we have the Giga. The Giganotosaurus boasts incredibly high base damage and health stats, making it one of the strongest land creatures in the game. Its damage output surpasses most other creatures, allowing it to decimate opponents quickly. Gigas are highly sought after in PvP scenarios due to their devastating combat abilities. They can deal massive damage to structures and creatures, making them an exceptional siege creature during raids or base defenses. Gigas are massive creatures, instilling fear in both players and AI controlled creatures. Their large size and aggressive nature makes them formidable adversaries in battles and excellent deterrents for potential attackers. Also, despite their immense strength, Gigas are also efficient gatherers, particularly for meat and hide. Their attacks yield substantial amounts of resources from the creatures they defeat, making them very useful for harvesting. Gigas are often considered endgame creatures due to their power level, and they can play a significant role in late game activities including raiding, boss battles, and establishing dominance on the server. Overall, the Giganotosaurus' unparalleled strength, combat prowess, intimidation factor, and significance in the endgame content make it highly sought after and a feared creature in Ark Survival Evolved, often playing a crucial role in dominating the game's landscape. And in at number 1 is the Rex. Rexes possess high base health and damage stats, making them formidable fighters. They are strong attackers and can deal significant damage to both creatures and structures, making them excellent combat mounts. Due to their strength and health, Rexes are often used in various combat scenarios, including hunting other creatures, defending bases, engaging in boss fights, or raiding enemy bases. Their high damage output makes them valuable assets in confrontations. Rexes are relatively easier to tame compared to some of the higher other creatures, like the Giga for example. They serve as an effective combat mount themselves and can also be used to assist in taming other creatures due to their strength and damage output. Rexes are commonly used in boss fights due to their high damage output, durability, and effectiveness against bosses in caves or arenas. They're often a crucial part of strategies for taking down challenging boss creatures in Ark. Rexes can be found in various regions across the Ark map, making them relatively accessible for taming. Players can encounter them in many different biomes, and the relatively straightforward taming process makes them available for players at different stages of the game. When multiple Rexes are present, they gain a pack bonus that increases their damage output, making them even more lethal in battles. This pack boost can significantly enhance effectiveness in group combat scenarios. In both PvP and PvE situations, Rexes are highly valued for their combat capabilities. They can be used for base defense, raiding, battling other players or tribes, and dominating the game's environment. While not specialized gatherers, the Rexes can collect decent amount of hide, meat, and keratin from creatures they defeat, making them useful for resource gathering. Overall, the Rexes' combination of high health, damage output, accessibility, ease of taming, versatility in various gameplay scenarios makes it one of the sought after Ark creatures. Not really sure about that pack buff though. In at number 10 we have the Microraptors. Firstly, the Microraptor does not deal significant damage, especially when compared to other creatures of similar size or role. They are relatively fragile and can be easily killed in combat, making them less useful as a combat mount or ally. Microraptors can only be ridden by a single person, limiting their utility for transportation or combat compared to larger creatures that carry multiple riders. Can't ride this thing, so overall they're difficult to tame, they have limited utility, and a single rider mount. What are you doing, AI? You can't ride these things. Look how tiny they are. Right, we have the Chalacatherium, and while the Chalacatherium has range attacks with its boulder throwing ability, its damage output isn't as high as some other creatures of a similar size in direct combat. It may not excel against stronger opponents. The boulder throwing attack has a slow firing rate, making it less effective in fast-paced battles or against agile enemies. Its movement speed is relatively slow compared to some other creatures, which can make it less desirable for transportation or quick travel. There are herbivores that prefer beer as their preferred taming food, which might be more challenging or time-consuming to obtain compared to some other foods. While they can gather loads of thatch and wood with their attacks, there are other creatures which are more efficient at those tasks. So overall, the Chalacatherium is often perceived as less versatile or useful in various situations compared to other tames available in the game. However, its unique abilities and appearance still might be appealing for players with specific preferences or those looking for a different tame experience. Now, just from personal experience here, yes, the beer is a little bit of an odd thing to tame it with, but if you learn that boulder ability, it can be an extremely useful one, and its damage and movement speed, as far as I'm concerned, are pretty good. So AI, I think you got it a little bit wrong on that one, but overall, I guess it kind of makes sense why this creature's on the list. Next up, we have the Oviraptor, and firstly, they're not strong combat creatures, and they lack significant offense or defense capabilities, making them less useful in battles compared to other tames. And also, the primary benefit of an Oviraptor is the ability to increase nearby egg laying speed and reduce egg incubation time allowed for dinos. However, this utility might not be as essential in every player's gameplay style or progression. Overall, Oviraptors might seem less desirable for players focused on combat-orientated creatures or those looking for tames with broader utility beyond egg-related benefits. However, they can still be useful for players focusing on breeding and egg production, as it can significantly speed up egg-laying incubation processes for nearby dinosaurs. In at number 7, we have the Ichthyosaurus. Firstly, it lacks significant combat abilities and strength. They're not powerful in combat situations and can be easily overwhelmed by stronger predators. They have relatively low health and defense stats, making them vulnerable to attacks, especially from larger and more aggressive ocean creatures. Ichthyosaurus is an aquatic creature and cannot survive on land. This limitation restricts their utility compared to other creatures which can move on both land and in water. They also have a limited carry weight, which means they can't transport much inventory for resources, reducing their ability for hauling items. And while they're decently fast underwater, their speed may not be sufficient to outrun some of the faster ocean predators. Overall, the Ichthyosaurus' limitation in combat, survivability, and restricted mobility make them less versatile compared to some other aquatic creatures like megalodons or mosasaurs, which possess better combat abilities, higher health, and greater utility both underwater and on the surface. However, their smaller size and speed can make them suitable for quick underwater transportation for players in the early stages of the game, or specific tasks requiring maneuverability in aquatic environments. Also, just does the AI think that megalodons can go on land? Because megalodons don't really have greater utility on the surface. I don't really know what it means by that. Next up, we have the Carb enemies, and while it has decent health and can soak up damage, its offensive capabilities are relatively weak compared to other creatures of similar size. It may take longer to defeat enemies in combat. The Carb enemies is relatively slow on both land and water. Its sluggish movement makes it less efficient for transportation compared to faster creatures. It has a unique ability to gather large amounts of berries and thatch, which can be useful early in game. However, as players progress, other creatures or tools become more efficient at resource gathering tasks. Despite its high health pool, it lacks the speed to evade threats, making it vulnerable to faster predators. While it has a saddle and can carry items, its low movement speed and carry weight limit its use for transporting resources. Due to these reasons, the Carb enemies might be perceived as less versatile compared to other tames that offer better combat abilities, faster movement, or specialized utility. However, its high health and resource gathering abilities can still make it useful in specific situations, especially for newer players or for tasks where its unique capabilities are beneficial. So, like, why AI are you putting this on the worst art creatures list? And you're going back on all the points here. And I don't know why it wants every creature to be really good at combat, because not every creature is going to be good at combat, and you don't need good combat creatures for everything. I don't know why AI is always just like, oh yeah, the reason why it's bad, can't do damage, can't go that fast, can't carry as many resources. Because like the Ichthyosaurus, great mobility, I don't really know what to talk about there. And with the Cob enemies, it's pretty good at transporting resources, it's got a very decent weight stat. In at number 5 is the Packy. And the first thing, it has a charging attack which can stun smaller creatures and knock back enemies. Its damage output and effectiveness in combat against larger and more powerful creatures are relatively low though, and this makes it less useful in more challenging battles. Packies have relatively low health and are not very durable compared to many other creatures. This makes them vulnerable in combat situations, especially against other stronger opponents. Beyond its charge attack and some minor gathering abilities such as collecting thatch, Packies do not offer diverse or significant utility compared to some other tames. While they're relatively fast on land, their speed may not be sufficient for efficient transportation compared to other faster creatures available in the game. Packies are small creatures with limited carrying capacity, which can make them less practical for holding large amounts of resources. Due to these factors, the Packy is often perceived as less versatile or less useful in various situations compared to other tames available in the game. I feel like it says that sentence a lot, by the way. However, some players might still find them interesting or useful for specific tasks or personal preferences, especially in the early stages of the game. I just feel like that ending part for most of these creatures are just like, well, they can still be useful for specific players. Maybe not with the Packy though. In at number 4 we have the Dimorphodon, and before we get any further, I completely disagree with this placement. Dimorphodons are small and relatively fragile creatures. They can be easily killed in combat situations due to their low health and defense, making them very vulnerable to attacks. While they can be effective in groups due to their ability to swarm enemies and deal damage collectively, individually their attack power and survivability are quite low. So due to these factors, they're perceived as less versatile or less useful. No, these things are amazing. They deal so much damage, and they deal rider damage even if they're on a mount. It's amazing. Right, this may not be Syntech's favourite, but in at number 3 we have the Galley. The Galley has weak combat abilities and relatively low health, making it unsuitable for fighting against most predators in the game. It's more of a passive, non-combative creature. It's relatively fragile and can be easily killed by larger predators if it gets into combat situations, further limiting its survivability. While it has decent speed, its carrying capacity is limited. This makes it less efficient for transporting resources compared to other creatures that are faster and can carry more. And like the Galley's carry weight actually isn't that bad when I think about it. And what creatures are really faster than the Galley on land? Yes, flyers faster, but on land this thing is one of the fastest out there, so a bit off with that one, in my opinion. It's also a herbivore, so it lacks the ability to gather resources efficiently, unlike some other creatures that excel at gathering specific resources. Okay, a bit of a useless point. Either way, the main advantage to the Galley is its speed, which makes it one of the fastest land creatures in the game. However, its speed might not compensate for its lack of combat ability or utility for some players' needs. You're not going to tame the Galley if you want a combat creature. You can tell they're wimpy at combat just from their design and just how little health they have. Like, if you use trank arrows on this thing, most of the time you're just going to kill it. Like, end of. So you kind of want trank darts for it. So, end of, really. Their health is wimpy. You're not even taming that for that. You're taming it for the speed. And because Syntech told you to. Either way, due to the reasons, the Gallimimus may be perceived as less versatile or less useful in various situations. Again, the AI is saying the same thing at the end, so I'm not going to reiterate. The Galley is in at number 3, I guess. In at number 2, we have the Pego. The first one which, you know, I actually agree with this one. The Pego has a unique ability to steal items from players from their inventories. This can be highly frustrating for players as it might steal valuable or essential items, making it an annoyance rather than a beneficial tame. Also, just to add a point, sometimes, like pretty much all of my Pego tames have been on accident when I've had berries in my last slot. Anyone else out there as well, you only tame these things on accident. You don't actually go out and tame these things. At least, I hope you don't. Don't do that. While they can attack and defend themselves to some extent, their combat abilities are relatively weak compared to other creatures. They are easily killed by stronger predators. Also, they're small creatures with low health and low defense. They can be easily killed by larger predators. They can be challenging to tame due to their small size, fast movement, and tendency to flee when attacked. You don't knock these things out. They're so easy to tame. Just put berries in the last slot on your hotbar and go up to one. It will pounce at you. Boom. Tamed. maybe you have to do that a couple of times. It's really not that difficult. And also, they don't offer much utility beyond their theft ability compared to some other tames. They lack significant gathering abilities or combat prowess, making them less desirable for various tasks. Also, when recording this B-roll, I never realised that when you set a Pego on Wandering, it would actually gather berries. I don't know. That was something that surprised me today. Did it surprise you today? Because I didn't know Pegos did that. And in at number 1, we have the Dodo. Why did you do this, AI? You were going to cause absolute havoc in the comments, by the way. Either way, Dodos have very low health, damage output, low movement speed, and they're one of the weakest creatures in the game. Beyond being one of the earliest creatures that players encounter and a source of basic resources like meat, hide, and some prime meat, Dodos don't give prime meat. Dodos lack significant utility unless they possess any special abilities, and their small size limits their carrying capacity. Also, just to add to the prime meat thing, baby Dodos do give prime meat, adult Dodos don't. Only on ASA, of course, because babies are insane prime meat farms. Also, they're easy to tame and provide a basic resource for new players. Their taming offers little advantage though, compared to some other tames available in the game's early stages. As players progress, Dodos generally become obsolete for any significant task due to their roles and low stats of special abilities. All the way through to the late game, the Dodos are great at gathering kibble, by the way. I love the Dodo. Hello and welcome, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you the top 10 raiders according to AI. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. In at number 10, we have got the Managama, and the reason why this creature is here is because it has excellent mobility with the ability to jump and glide, making it easy to traverse different types of terrain quickly. This agility is crucial for raiding as it allows players to quickly approach and escape from targets. One of the Managama's most potent abilities is its freeze breath attack. This attack can freeze enemy creatures and players in place, making them vulnerable to follow-up attacks. It is particularly useful for disabling defenders or neutralizing turrets and defenses before a raid. The Managama is a versatile creature that can be effective in various situations. Its ability to hover and glide gives it an advantage when attacking bases with elevated structures or defending against aerial threats. The Managama also has the ability to regenerate stamina mid-air, allowing it to engage in prolonged combat or travel long distances without the need for frequent breaks. This stamina regeneration is beneficial during raids where sustained activity is required. The Managama also has a unique dodge ability that allows it to teleport short distances in any direction. This makes it highly evasive and difficult for enemies to hit, further enhancing its survivability during raids. It's essential to note that the game dynamics and creature abilities may be subject to changes throughout updates and patches. That's a nice thing to mention. I guess it is saying that because it's got its data from 2022, but you know, let's continue with the list, I guess. Next up, we have got the Wyvern, and this creature is here because they come with various elemental types, including fire, lightning, and poison. And there is also more, but it fails to mention those. Each type has a unique breath attack that deals substantial damage over a wide area. These attacks are highly effective against both structures and enemy creatures, making Wyverns formidable raiding mounts. Wyverns are flying creatures, if you couldn't tell that already, providing a significant advantage during raids. They can bypass many ground-based defenses, reach elevated structures easily, and retreat quickly if needed. Their ability to fly allows players to survey a base from above, identifying weak points or potential entry points. Wyverns are generally fast and manoeuvrable. We don't just talk about their turning circle though, it's atrocious, allowing raiders to engage and disengage quickly. This speed is advantageous when trying to avoid enemy defenses such as turrets or aggressive creatures. Wyverns also have a very high base damage output, especially when utilising their elemental breath attacks. This allows them to deal substantial damage to enemy structures and creatures, making them formidable raiding tools. The presence of a Wyvern during a raid can be intimidating to defending players. The fear of a powerful flying creature attacking can disrupt defences and create chaos among defenders. We're going to talk about what the Rhino Ganath has introduced, but obviously it doesn't really know too much of that creature's existence, so maybe it is valid that this creature's here. But as always, comment down below what you actually do think of what the AI has picked to put on this list, and obviously the script is by AI as well if you couldn't tell that already. Next up, we have got the Spinosaurus, and this creature is here as they are very proficient swimmers, making them suitable for raids involving water-based structures or bases located near bodies of water. They can easily navigate through rivers and other aquatic areas, providing flexibility in raiding strategies. Spinos have relatively high base health pool, allowing them to withstand a significant amount of damage during raids. This makes them effective for soaking up turret fire and dealing with enemy defensives. Spinos have a strong bite attack and their overall damage output is considerably large. This makes them very effective at dealing damage to structures and enemy creatures, aiding in the raiding process. Spinos are also very well-rounded creatures that can handle various situations. They can traverse both land and water, making them versatile in raiding scenarios, involving diverse terrain. Spinos are generally faster than some other large creatures, allowing for quicker movement during raids. Their speed can be advantageous when approaching a target, retreating or maneuvering around defensive structures. Personally, I would agree with most of the stuff there. There is definitely some better creatures for doing tanking than a Spino. For example, carb enemies can do a bit. The Stego is also not on this list, by the way. If you are thinking the Stego was going to be on the list, no, the AI did not pick out the Stego for being a great creature like that. But there is a somewhat tank which is on this list. There's kind of two of them, but there's one more notable one which obviously does come later in the list. But you know, I would say the Spino isn't a bad choice. It just maybe doesn't come to mind for me. Next up, we have got the Therizinosaurus, and this creature is here as the Theri has a very high base damage output with its claws, making it effective in dealing damage to both structures and enemy creatures. Its ability to gather resources efficiently extends to harvesting enemy structures during a raid. I don't think you can harvest enemy structures like that. You can't really just hack them to bits and get resources from it, but I guess we'll go with it. Theris are also versatile creatures that can be used for various tasks, including gathering resources, fighting and raiding. The versatility makes them suitable for adapting to different raiding scenarios and requirements. While not as tanky as some other creatures like the Rex or the Giga, the Theri has a decent health pool and can withstand a fair amount of damage. This, coupled with their damage output, allows them to be effective in raiding situations. The Theri's ability to gather large amounts of resources quickly can be advantageous during a raid. It can efficiently collect resources like thatch, wood and other materials which may be needed for crafting or building. Yet not really necessary for a raid, but you know, you might need that thatch. You might be a naked zombo out there and you need that thatch. I guess maybe that's excusable there. As a herbivore, the Theri can be a good choice for raiding, herbivore only bases or areas where carnivores may struggle to find sustenance. That's not really relevant, but okay. Theris also relatively easier to tame compared to some other more powerful creatures like the Giga. Their lower level aggression during taming makes them more accessible to a wider range of players. Yeah, I guess so, but I think on this creature, AI got a lot of things wrong. Next up, we have got the Parasaur, and this creature has a platform side, which you'll see later in the B-roll, allowing players to build structures on its back. This makes it an excellent mobile base for carrying raiding gear, turrets, or even smaller creatures into battle. The platform saddle provides a strategic advantage for raiders, allowing for a mobile protected raiding platform. The Parasaur has a relatively high base health pool, making it durable in raiding situations. Its ability to withstand damage allows it to soak up turret fire and protect riders or structures mounted on its platform. The Parasaur has a decent weight capacity, allowing it to carry significant amounts of resources, loot or raiding equipment. This can be advantageous for transporting materials during a raid. While not the fastest creature in the game, the Parasaur has moderate movement speed, enabling it to keep up with raiding parties or quickly approach target bases. Not really sure about that one, but okay. As a herbivore, the Parasaur does not require meat for sustenance. This can be beneficial in situations where obtaining meat may be challenging or where other players want to avoid the attention of carnivores. Not really relevant again, but you know, that's the Parasaur, I guess. Again, it kind of gets things a bit wrong with the herbivores. In at number 5, we have got the Golem, and this creature is here as they have an exceptionally high base health pool, making them excellent tanking creatures. And this is actually where I would definitely agree with the AI. Their ability to withstand a significant amount of damage allows them to soak up turret fire, I don't know what fire is, and endure attacks during raids. That's my mistake, by the way. That's not it spelling stuff wrong. It's got perfect English. The Golem's primary attack involves throwing large rocks at enemies and structures. This attack deals substantial damage over a distance, making it effective for damaging enemy structures and defences from a relatively safe position. Golems have natural armour made of rocks, which further enhances their durability. This natural armour reduces the damage they take from various sources, including firearms and melee attacks, making them even more formidable. The combination of high health, rock throw attack and natural armour makes Golems effective siege creatures. They can be used to breach enemy defence destroy structures, and disrupt defensive strategies. Golems also have a very decent weight, allowing them to carry large amounts of resources or loot required back during a raid. This can be helpful for transporting valuable items, and also they have resistance to explosive damage, making them less vulnerable to certain types of raiding tactics such as rocket attacks. This distance can be very advantageous. Largely, I'd say it's pretty decent on that one. Next up, we have got the Quets, and this creature is here as they have a platform saddle, allowing players to build structures. Essentially, what it just said for the Golem repeated. Then also, being a flying creature, the Quets will provide significant advantage during raids by allowing players to bypass ground-based defenses and reach elevated structures. This makes it easier to survey a base, plan the attack, and avoid certain defenses. The Quetzal has a very high weight capacity, allowing it to carry very heavy items, creatures, or large amounts of resources. Great for transporting after the raid is finished. The Quetzal also has very decent stamina, allowing for sustained flight and prolonged raiding activities without the need for frequent breaks. This stamina is essential for covering long distances during a raid and engaging in extended aerial combat. While not the fastest flying in the game, the Quetzal has reasonable speed. This makes it effective for quickly approaching target bases, dodging enemy fire, and evading threats. Maybe not quite to the speed that I think it's trying to get at, but sure, I guess. Also, the platform saddle allows for the placement of turrets, providing a formidable defense capability during raids. This turns the Quetzal into a flying weapons platform that can be challenging for defenders to encounter. Few things wrong here with this one, but not too bad, I guess. In at number 3, we've got the Bronto. This creature is here because of the platform saddle again. Also, they have a considerably high base health pool, making them effective for tanking creatures. Their ability to absorb a substantial amount of damage attacks makes them vulnerable for soaking up turret fire. They also have a wide tail swipe attack that can deal damage to multiple structures and creatures at once. This makes them effective for clearing out smaller structures such as walls and just general defensive structures during a raid. Considering their massive size, they have a decent movement speed. Not too sure about that, but I've never found it's too awful, but sometimes it can be a little bit egregious. Also, it's relatively easier to feed compared to carnivores. I usually find it's easier to get my hands on meat than berries. That's just personal experience for me. And also, the sheer size of the Bronto can be intimidating to defenders, potentially causing chaos and disruption among defending players. This psychological impact can work in the favour of raiders, creating opportunities for successful attacks. Maybe, but this isn't really 2016 Arc anymore, so I would probably say no to that last point. In at number 2, we have got the Giga, and they have an exceptionally high base damage output, making them one of the most powerful offensive creatures in the game. Their attacks can quickly shred through structures, defenses, and enemy creatures, making them highly effective for raiding. Gigas also possess a massive health pool, making them incredibly durable. This high health allows them to soak up a substantial amount of damage, including turret fire, during raids. This ability is crucial for ensuring the Giga's survival during these intense battles. Doesn't talk about the rage meter though, which is great, I guess. And, you know, considering that last point, it doesn't really make too much sense, but hey ho, I guess. Taking more health is going to be really great for the Giga, even though it does have that rage meter. But apparently, the sheer size of the Giga can be intimidating to defenders again. The psychological impact, guys. It's all about the psychological impact. We've all been getting it wrong. Just bring the biggest creature you possibly can, and everyone will just be so scared you physically can't. Like, the people will just not be able to fight you anymore. You're just too good. You just need to psychologically impact them. It's the strat, guys. And finally, it says, while primarily known for their defensive abilities, Gigas can also be used defensively during attacks. Their ability to deal with enemy creatures and structures makes them versatile assets for raiding parties. Okay, but you did forget about the rage meter. And another one is the Rex, and the reason why it said it is the best raiding creature out there is because they have a very high base damage output, making them effective at dealing damage to both structures and enemy creatures during raids. Their powerful bites can quickly break down walls and other defensive structures. Also, Rexes have a substantial health pool, allowing them to withstand a significant amount of damage. This makes them effective as tanking creatures, soaking up turret fire. I don't know why I said fire again. What is wrong with me? And serving as a durable front line during raids. Compared to some other powerful raiding creatures though, like the Giga, Wretches are considered more manageable to tame. This accessibility makes them a popular choice for players who want a powerful creature without the challenges of taming more difficult creatures. Wretches are also versatile creatures that can handle various tasks, including raiding, defending, battling other creatures. they're pretty much just all under raiding really for that. Their ability to move on both land and in water, they're awful swimmers by the way, makes them adaptable for different raiding scenarios. When used in a group pack, Rexes can benefit from the pack bonus. This is not true. The AI got it wrong last time and it still gets it wrong, and it says this increases their damage output, which they're particularly effective during raids, where multiple Rexes can be coordinated for a more potent attack. Yes, more Rexes are going to deal more damage, but they do not have the pack buff. So I think it's safe to say AI has got quite a lot wrong in this video, and there's loads of creatures it has missed out on. Like, where's the Stego? The Stego should be here. And obviously the Desmodus has actually been quite a good one, and the Pteranodon needs to be here, especially for those early raids. And obviously you can comment down below your thoughts on what other creatures you think that need to be on this list, as I think its choices haven't been the greatest today. Hello and welcome, and in today's video I'm going to share with you the 10 most popular archetypes according to AI. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. In at number 10 we've got the Spino, and the reason why this creature is here, as they are very versatile creatures that can thrive in both land and water environments. Their ability to move efficiently in water makes them valuable for traversing rivers, lakes, and oceans, and obviously this makes them well suited for coastal and island bases. Spinos are also very powerful combat tames with unique spin attacks that deal large areas of affected damage. This makes them effective against both land and water creatures, providing players with a reliable option for combat situations. Spinos are also proficient at gathering a variety of resources, including meat and hide. Their ability to harvest from both animals and water creatures makes them useful for obtaining a diverse range of materials. Spinos also have very decent movement speed, allowing players to traverse landscapes quickly. This speed can be advantageous for exploration, escaping threats, and reaching destinations efficiently. Also, the Spino's ability to move underwater adds an element of surprise and escape during encounters. This semi-aquatic nature can be beneficial in evading pursuers or exploring underwater caves. The Spinosaurus also has a distinctive and imposing appearance, making it visually appealing to many players. The unique design of the Spino does contribute to its popularity. Compared to some other higher tier creatures like the Giga, the Spino are also considered more accessible and easy to tame, so this accessibility makes them a popular choice for players at various stages of the game. Next up, we have got the Snow Owl, and this creature is here as they have a very unique ability that allows them to restore the health of itself and nearby creatures. This makes it a valuable support creature for both PvE and PvP scenarios. The ability to rapidly heal during battle and after battles contributes to its popularity. Also, the Snow Owl can use a freeze breath attack, which slows down and eventually freezes enemy creatures and players. This ability is used for crowd control during raids, taming or defending against hostile creatures. Pretty sure the Snow Owl doesn't have that, but okay, AI will go with it. Also, they have a thermal vision mode, allowing them to detect creatures and players even in low visibility conditions such as the dark or certain weather events. This makes them excellent scouts and useful for exploration. This is definitely where I can agree with the AI here. Also, when equipped with this saddle, the Snow Owl can reduce fall damage for both itself and the riders. This makes it a preferred choice for players who need to traverse mountainous or elevated terrain, as well as those who engage in high altitude activities. Not really relevant. The Snow Owl isn't going to reduce full damage by having a saddle on. It's just going to have more armor, but I don't think that would really contribute to it. And also, compared to some other higher tier creatures, the Snow Owl is considered relatively easy to tame, so it's quite accessible to a wide range of players. Also, being a flying creature, the Snow Owl has the advantage of just very easy mobility, allowing players to quickly traverse the map. Its ability to land on the ground or water provides versatility in different environments. The Snow Owl's ability to ignore the effects of cold weather makes it an excellent choice for players living in colder regions of the Arc map. Its ability to travel comfortably in these areas really does contribute to its popularity. While not as specialised as some creatures, the Snow Owl is capable of gathering resources, including organic polymer from creatures it kills. This makes it a versatile companion for resource collection. Not really sure if it's that great at gathering organic polymer. Obviously it can, but it wouldn't be up there for my organic polymer farming creature. And also they definitely can't use a freeze breath attack, but I would definitely say this is a popular creature, it's just some of the reasons why it got them a little bit wrong. Next up, we have got the Velonosaur, and this creature is here as they have unique ranged attack that involves firing quills or spikes at a rapid rate. This attack makes them extremely effective against both creatures and players, allowing them to deal damage quickly and effectively. Velonosaurs are also very versatile creatures that excel in various roles. They are effective in both offensive and defensive situations, making them valuable assets for raiding, defending bases, or engaging in large-scale battles. Also, the Velonosaur has quite a decent mobility, allowing them to move quickly on both land and in water. This versatility in movement makes them adaptable to different environments and scenarios. Also, Velonosaurs can enter a turret mode where they maintain stationary but unleash their projectile attack in a 360-degree radius, providing a powerful defense capability for bases. In this mode, they automatically target and attack nearby threats. Compared to some other powerful creatures, the Velonosaur is also considered very easy to tame. Velonosaurs are capable of harvesting a variety of resources from creatures they defeat, including hide, meat, and organic polymer. Don't know why it talks about that so much, but there are definitely some other creatures which I would say are better, but obviously, again, it can. And also, lastly, Velonosaurs are relatively efficient when it comes to taming and can be a great addition to the player's tame creature dossier. That's great, I guess. Next up, we have got the Giganotosaurus, and this creature is here as they have a very extremely high base damage output, making them one of the most powerful and offensive creatures in the game. Their attacks can quickly shred through structures, defenses, and enemy creatures, making them highly effective for raiding and combat scenarios. Gigas also possess a massive health pool, making them incredibly durable. This high health allows them to soak up significant amounts of damage, including turret fire, raids, and the combination of high damage and health makes them formidable in both offense and defense. The Gigas also sheer size can be intimidating to defenders and rival tribes. The psychological impact of encountering a Giga can create a sense of fear and deterrence among other players, potentially influencing the outcome of battles and negotiations. Also, Gigas have unique range mechanic. When they take a certain amount of damage, they enter a rage mode. Yes, they do have that, but I don't think that does contribute to their popularity. And also, while primarily an offensive creature, Gigas can also be used defensively. Their ability to deal with enemy creatures and structures makes them versatile assets for raiding parties, but doesn't really say they're good for defense. It just says, yeah, they can attack enemy creatures and structures, but that's more offensive. And also, they're associated with endgame stuff, and players look up to taming them. Next up, we have got the Theri, and this creature is extremely versatile, and because of that, it does excel in various roles. They're effective in combat, resource gathering, and harvesting, making them valuable assets in many aspects of the game. Theris also have the ability to gather a wide variety of resources efficiently. They're particularly effective for gathering wood, thatch, fibre, and berries, especially fibre, to be honest, from my opinion, as that is just such a great resource to get. Also, they're formidable combatants with high base damage and decent health pools. Their ability to deal damage quickly, coupled with their versatility in harvesting resources, makes them popular choices for both offensive and defensive purposes. Compared to some other higher tier creatures, they're also pretty easy to tame. Does tend to say that about a lot of creatures though, but at least it didn't say about the Giga, although that's not the hardest tame to tame out there. Also, do take into mind it is taking its data from 2022, so it doesn't know of the Raasclark or the Quirk or the Desmos, things like that. Obviously, they're not going to be on the list. Also, there is a herbivores, which means they're easier to maintain compared to carnivores. Not really true, and the AI seems to always prefer herbivores in that aspect, but I don't really think that is generally what happens, because meat is just so easy to get compared to berries. And yes, you can even use a berry gatherer and it's fine, but still, you know, it's like meat tends to be a lot easier to gather when you're at the stage when you're taming a Theri. Also, they have unique ability to gather rare flowers and rare mushrooms from bushes. This makes them quite valuable. I'm not sure if they can do that, but if they can, then it's definitely a nice ability. Never really seen them do it, but you know, who knows, I guess. In at number 5, we've got the Thyla, and this creature is here as they have a very unique climbing ability, allowing it to scale vertical surfaces such as trees and cliffs. This makes it an excellent choice for traversing different terrains and reaching elevated areas that other creatures might struggle with. Also, Thylas have a pouncing ability that allows them to perform stealthy ambush attacks. Is actually a bit of a grammatical mistake there from ChatGPT, which is lovely. Thought it was perfect English, ChatGPT. Come on, get better at this. Also, this ability can be advantageous in both hunting and combat situations, as it enables the Thyla to quickly close the distance to its target. Thylas also have a very decent base damage output with their slashing attacks, which makes them very effective in combat against various other creatures, and their agility allows them to maneuver well during fights. Thylas are very versatile, that can be used in various purposes. They're effective hunters, scouts, and even mounts for travelling across different biomes. Their adaptability makes them valuable for players with diverse playstyles. They're also relatively fast and agile, making them suitable for quick travel across the map. Their climbing ability also allows them to take shortcuts and navigate through the challenging landscapes more efficiently. Thylas are also considered more accessible compared to some of the larger and more dangerous creatures in Ark. This makes them very popular as well, as they're quite reliable and versatile. Thylas can also be found in various biomes, including redwood forests and jungles. The ability to thrive in different environments that makes them suitable for exploration and survival in the different regions of Ark. And also the Thylas' unique appearance, resembling a mix between a marsupial and a big cat, makes it visually appealing to many players. The creature's design contributes to its popularity among Ark enthusiasts. I would have also talked about the bleed ability there. As you can see, it's doing that to that Kentra there, and it definitely did have the bleed ability in 2022, so it doesn't really have a reason, a date reason to not talk about that, as it's 2022, reasonably up to date, you would say. And yeah, that's the only one critique I would say, but largely I would say yes, this creature is a very popular one. Next up, we have got the Rock Drake, and this creature is here as they possess the ability to climb on vertical surfaces and glide through the air. This makes it highly versatile for traversing challenging terrain, scaling cliffs, and reaching otherwise inaccessible areas. The combination of climbing and gliding provides a significant mobility advantage. Rock Drakes also have natural camouflage, which enables them to blend into their surroundings when they stay still. This makes them effective for stealthy approaches, ambushes, and avoiding detection by hostile creatures or players. Rock Drakes also have natural armor that provides them with increased durability in combat situations, and this added protection makes them more resilient when facing enemy creatures or engaging in battles. Rock Drakes also emit bioluminescent light, which can be helpful in dark environments such as the Aberration biome. More of a map, but okay. This feature also aids in visibility and exploration in low light conditions. I don't really remember the Rock Drake glowing in a way, but it might do. Again, I'm slightly out to date with some of the Aberration creatures because I really haven't touched on that map in a while. But, you know, did the AI get it wrong or did it get it right there? Because I'm not quite sure with a few of these things. And also, taming a Rock Drake involves a unique process, including steel Rock Drake eggs and raising them. The challenge of attaining the Rock Drake eggs adds an element of excitement. Definitely would agree with that, although it's not the most inventive thing considering the Wyverns did it first, so it wasn't really that new. And also the Rock Drake's mobility, stealth and gliding make it a valuable asset in PvP. Players can use them for surprise attacks and just quick getaways. Also, the Rock Drake's appearance, resembling a blend of a dragon, reptilian with some reptilian features, contributes to its popularity. Its design stands out and appeals to players who appreciate visually extinct and intriguing creatures. Largely would agree, it might have got a few things here wrong, or it might not, but the Rock Drake largely is very popular. In at number 3, we have got the Quetzal, and this creature is here as it has a platform saddle, allowing players to build structures on its back. This feature makes it more mobile and versatile than some other flyers across around the map, and such as Argies and Pteranodons. Also, the Quetz has a substantial weight capacity, making it an efficient and reliable creature for transporting heavy loads of resources, tame creatures or equipment across long distances. Being a flying creature, the Quetzal also allows players to traverse the map quickly and efficiently. Its ability to fly over obstacles and terrain makes it an ideal choice for exploration and transportation. It is still quite slow though. The platform saddle of the Quetzal allows for the placement of turrets, turning it into a formidable flying weapons platform. This makes it a very popular choice for raids. They also have a very high stamina pool, enabling it to fly for extended periods. They can be relatively easy to tame compared to some other high-tier creatures. Definitely not if you're going solo, but I guess the netgun does exist now. And they also do provide a significant advantage during raids, as they can fly and also over time the Quetzal has become very iconic to the art community due to its versatility and utility. Bit of an odd choice to put it in at number 3 though. In at number 2 we have got the Argy, and this creature is very versatile that can fill various roles, making it useful for different aspects of gameplay. It can serve as transport, a combatant, or a resource gatherer. The Argy also has a platform saddle, which is not true whatsoever, so I'm just going to skip all over that. It says, yeah, it's not as large as the Quetzal's one, but you can still build up a base with it. No, you can't. What are you doing there? No platform saddle on the Argy. But the Argy does have a very substantial carrying weight, making it an excellent choice for transporting resources, tame creatures, or supplies over long distances. Its carrying capacity is valuable for resource gathering and logistical operations. The Argy also has a very decent stamina pool, allowing it to cover long distances without the need for frequent rests. The Argy is also a formidable combat creature. Its ability to grab smaller creatures in its talons and carry them over and drop them from a height, this makes it an effective predator. Also, its natural attack capabilities make it useful for defending against hostile creatures or players. Compared to some other flying creatures, the Argy is considered relatively easy to tame. It's just a very simple knockout one. The Argy can also be found in various biomes, including mountains, tundra, and forests. And while not specialised for resource gathering, the Argy can efficiently collect meat from falling creatures using its attack. Also, they're commonly found at different parts of Ark, so it makes them quite accessible for players at various stages, and over time the Argy has become very iconic. Bit strange that you won't talk about the smithy being in the saddle. It thinks the Argy is a platform saddle, and that regen buff is quite iconic as well. But, you know, it does make sense. It just put it here for some of the wrong reasons. And finally, AI decided that the most popular art creature is the Rex, as it has a significantly high base damage output, making it a very formidable combatant. Its powerful bite deals substantial damage to both creatures and structures, making it valuable in various combat scenarios. The Rex also boasts a very large health pool, making it a tanky and durable creature. Its ability to withstand attacks makes it effective in soaking up damage during battles and raids. The Rex is also a very versatile creature that can be used in various roles, whether it's engaging in combat, defending a base, or taking on powerful bosses. The Rex's versatility makes it a popular choice for many players. Compared to some other high tier creatures, the Rex is also considered relatively easy to tame. Its passive taming nature and the availability of kibble are the preferred taming foods, making it accessible to players at different levels. When multiple Rexes are used in a group, they benefit from a pack bonus that increases their damage output. This synergy makes a pack of Rexes even more formidable. Don't know why it always says this. Rexes do not have the pack buff. ChatGPT, I should probably tell it one day and maybe it will finally get it right. Also, the Rex is a preferred choice for many players in boss fights, especially the high level bosses. Its combination of high damage output, durability and versatility makes it a reliable option for tackling challenging encounters. Rexes can also be found in various biomes, so they're very accessible, and also their imposing size and fearsome appearance contribute to its effectiveness in both offensive and defensive roles. The psychological impact back from the last video, encountering a Rex in the wild or during a raid can create some sense of fear or intimidation. It's all about that psychological impact, guys. And again, apparently the Rex has also become very iconic, and I would agree with that, but you know, it's all about that psychological impact. Just all about the psychological impact. But anyway, that is the end of today's video, and it's safe to say AI got quite a lot of things wrong in today's video. But as always, comment down below what is the most popular art tome in your opinion. If you didn't agree with this list, which I definitely wouldn't, put your 10 in the comments below, and I'll see you all later.